On that first stormy night when Rudolph was leading Santa's sleigh on Christmas Eve, something unexpected happened. Rudolph realized something rather large was flying his way. As his eyes adjusted, he saw that it was King Moonracer. He had wanted to witness for himself that the Misfit Toys found homes. He wanted to wish his toy friends a fond farewell, especially his footman, the Spotted Elephant, and his official sentry, Charlie in the Box. Then, he turned his attention to Rudolph, and invited him to come back to his chambers. He was thankful Rudolph played a key role in the Misfit Toys finding homes. Rudolph was delighted, and asked if the doe Clarice could come too. He added that she's a good singer, and could sing at his castle. King Moonracer declared that he was too sad for merriment at the time, but that he would extend the invitation to Clarice as well for the chambers, as long as she did not mind being alone at night.
Alone?
Yes. Rudolph, it would please me if you would accept my offer to accompany me, and light the way as I search every night for misfit toys all over the world. Do you accept this offer?
Yes, King Moonracer.
Good. Then the matter is settled.
Rudolph and Clarice moved into King Moonracer's chambers located just outside of the castle. In the spring, Rudolph and Clarice had a calf. Ma, Pa.
Rudolph? He's got a green nose, and it glows just like yours. Should we name him after you?
Thanks, Clarice, but I want him to have his own name. Maybe Garson?
Garson? What does it mean?
It means to protect.
I like it.
Rudolph and Clarice loved being parents. Clarice sang to Garson and taught him how to sing. She sang deer songs, like the song about his dad, and the song, As the Deer. They sang other songs, too. She also taught him how to find food, and Rudolph took him deep into a forest and taught him things like how to fly. They had fun, and Garson learned quickly. Time passed. One day in the forest, Rudolph and Garson realized that a couple of polar bears were pretty close.
Rudolph, remember us? We played together when we were little.
Ruff, Tumble, great to see you again. This is my son, Garson.
If you're half as fun as your dad, you're alright.
Are you guys alright? You keep looking around like you're expecting something.
We're okay. We're nervous about your safety. Our dad, Thug, was humiliated and very angry when he found out that we bears had fun with you, a reindeer. Since that day, he's had one goal.
What is it?
To find you. Rudolph. He eats reindeer for breakfast.
Gee, that's awful.
It's Thug! Run!
Well, Thug came into view. Rudolph wanted to run, but gathered his courage and charged at him. Thug just growled, picked up a sizable rock, and threw it at Rudolph's head. Now Rudolph was knocked over in front of Thug, and Thug stood over him with his mouth agape, ready to take a bite. Garson determined that he would help his dad. His adrenaline kicked in. Garson snorted, reared up, and crashed his hooves down all over Thug's nose and face. In less than a minute, Thug's body slumped beside Rudolph. Ruff and Tumble had been watching from behind trees, and rushed to the scene.
They're both breathing and regaining consciousness.
Ugh, what happened?
Thug knocked you out and it looked like you were a goner, but Garson saved your life.
He did? We need to tell King Moonracer at the Island of Misfit Toys. He should be holding court about now. See you around, guys. We gotta go, Garson.
Rudolph approached King Moonracer in court.
What do you desire, Rudolph?
King Moonracer, the polar bear, Thug, nearly killed me today, but Garson saved my life. Also, I want to share something unknown to you or Garson.
Speak freely.
Garson's name means to protect. He has lived up to his name.
Then he shall be rewarded. Come forth, Garson. Garson, I declare you my new official sentry of this island. You may go to your post at once.
Thank you, King Moonracer.
Rudolph, are you ready to search for misfit toys?
Ready, King Moonracer.
In their searching, they found more misfit toys, and brought them back to the Island of Misfit Toys. They brought a remote-controlled car that went backward when he's supposed to go forward, a toy shopping cart that kept veering to the left, a building block set with a tilted base, an electric tricycle who was missing a wheel, a puzzle with pieces that didn't quite fit, a basketball that said it could only roll, a glowworm toy that couldn't glow, and a dog robot with malfunctioning lights. Garson guarded all of these except the dog robot. That misfit toy was chosen by King Moonracer to be his new footman. One especially cold and dark night, Garson sang As the Deer to comfort the new misfit toys. They loved it when he sang. This time, as he was singing, he heard a twig break. He stopped singing and scanned the landscape. An amorphous shadow was getting nearer. When he activated his glowing green nose, he saw his new buddies, Ruff and Tumble. "Hey guys, what are you doing here?"
When your dad mentioned the Island of Misfit Toys, we got curious. Even though we're a little older, we're actually still playful. Do you think we could meet some of the Misfit Toys?
Garson got permission from King Moonracer for Ruff and Tumble to meet the toys the following day. They had so much fun with them. They had the most fun with the remote-controlled car and the basketball. The bears didn't tire of working the remote and passing and rolling the basketball to each other. The toys were thrilled, and King Moonracer changed the law of the island to include not just girls and boys as recipients of misfit toys, but also animals, if they were considered a good match. Ruff and Tumble went back to their forest, roughhousing and laughing all the way. Rudolph and Clarice were so excited another Christmas Eve was coming. King Moonracer was jovial too. He was pleased with the positive changes on the Island of Misfit Toys. He requested that Clarice perform a concert in his castle, and a feast for all on the island was provided. Rudolph and Clarice talked about lots of things, like how Garson saved Rudolph from Thug, and about Rudolph leading the sleigh. She also asked what it feels like to fly. He surprised her by saying he'd be right back. Rudolph then flew to Santa's home and asked if he had just the one sleigh, or if he had any one reindeer sleighs he could borrow. Santa assured him that he did have various sleighs for different purposes throughout the year, and that he could spare an elf to hitch him up. Clarice was in the chambers when she heard sleigh bells. When she looked out a window, she saw Rudolph in the sky. She rushed outside, and Rudolph landed the fancy little sleigh.
You, want to know what it feels like to fly?
Uh-huh.
Would you want to ride this sleigh?
Rudolph took off, and Clarice felt so happy. She loved the feeling of flying. She loved it so much, she asked Rudolph to give Grandma Donner a ride too. They all had a joyful evening with Grandpa Donner flying beside Rudolph unharnessed. When Rudolph returned the sleigh, Santa was panicked. He had received news that a more massive storm than the year before was anticipated. That meant that the light of Rudolph's nose alone wouldn't be enough. They needed more light, and Santa wanted Garson to join Rudolph at the front of his sleigh. When Rudolph explained that Garson was now the official sentry of the Island of Misfit Toys, Santa demanded that Rudolph make a plea to King Moonracer to allow him to do sleigh service on Christmas Eve. On his way back to the island, Rudolph thought of a possible solution. Maybe Ruff could be a substitute sentry for a night. King Moonracer agreed to the temporary Christmas Eve arrangement, and so did Ruff. At Santa's place, everyone was joyful that Christmas was a go. The tall Christmas tree was sparkling with ornaments, and the red and green glow of the tree made for a beautiful Christmassy ambience. Rudolph and Garson were hitched to the front of the sleigh. Happy chatter died down as a knock came on the giant doors of Mr. and Mrs. Claus. Everyone gasped when the doors flew open with a bit of storm, and 2 polar bears.
Tumble, why did you bring Thug?
Rudolph, you know these polar bears? What did I tell you?
Aw, Dad, let him talk. Go ahead, Tumble.
Well, when Ruff and I brought the Misfit Toys home, Doug heard how happy we were. He'd been such a bear after we lost Mother Bear. A reindeer buck's sharp antlers gave her a fatal wound, so he was extra protective of us since he didn't want to lose us too. Anyway, Thug's behavior changed as he started to allow himself to start letting go of the past, and to play. He has something he wants to say.
Rudolph, I hope you can come to forgive me after what I did to you. I'm now thankful that you are a good friend to my boys. That friendship has led me on a path of healing.
I forgive you.
And Garson, thanks for boldly protecting a family member. I get that. Sure, Thug.
All right, hold everything. I demand to know what happened.
I know it's hard to hear they were in danger, but our son's already a hero, and now our grandson's a hero too.
I hope we are all good because we need to fly. Rudolph? Garson? Let's go!
Donner, doesn't it feel good to see Rudolph and Garson leading the sleigh?
Yeah, I guess I was pretty hard on Rudolph.
Rudolph's red glowing nose and now Garson's green glowing nose shone through the storm, delighting all those who could see the father and son's Christmas-colored lights. And then everyone heard Donner call out, but this time in a good mood.
That's my box!